Welcome, everyone, to the second edition of the Impact Theory Team live Q&A. We're taking over the airways. We're taking over Tom's channel because he's down at Comic-Con. And we are here for you to answer your questions about Impact Theory. Get a behind-the-scenes look. So thank you for joining us. And also, we have a very exciting thing today. We're giving away a lot of prizes. We have shirts. We have posters. We have Audible subscriptions. We have a signed book by a very special guest on Impact Theory. So stick around, don't go away, and let's settle in and get into this. So first off, we're going to go around and just quickly introduce ourselves. We'll start with Cindy.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy. I'm the Impact Theory Marketing Associate, community manager, events coordinator, a whole bunch of different things. It's a lot of fun, and that's me.
You probably already know Cindy, I'm assuming.
But
you may not know this next gentleman right here.
Yes, I'm normally behind the scenes, guys. My name is Ibrahim Elgalad, and I am the production intern. So everything that has to do with the cameras, the audio, the editing, and uploading, I take care of.
Nice.
Hi, everyone. Again, from last week, I'm Amanda. I'm the assistant here at Impact Theory.
All right. And I am your host, Agent Smith, here trying to hold it down while Tom and Lisa are away. Let's do this. Let's get into this and have some fun.
Right.
We have some questions from Tom and Lisa, too, left over. So let's dive into those.
What guest that we've had on Impact Theory has meant the most to you and why?
Hold up. I think we already did that
I
question.
did this one.
We did that one. Let's go to the next one.
What subject makes you feel the most alive?
Subject.
Ooh, okay.
What subject makes you feel the most
I feel like
alive?
that needs to be elaborated on.
I would love everyone to just, whatever
What is
they
that,
define
little
subject
subject?
as. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Who wants
I
to
can
go?
go.
Go.
I mean, it's got to be literature. I mean, I studied literature
Yeah.
for a long time. I went to grad school. I almost became a professor in literature. It is the thing that makes me feel most alive, reading books, learning about literature, culture, history, asking questions. That's it.
Cool. Does people count as a subject?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like my biggest subject that's kind of had the most longevity. And if I think about all the other subjects that I really, really love, they all have to they really do have to do with people and storytelling. So I think it would be people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, similar to Cindy's, my subject is psychology. I always love figuring out what makes people tick. And so, honestly, I just love anything that's around people and figuring out what I can do to benefit and improve and grow as an individual, and also helping other people do the same.
Nice. Mine's like a combination of all yours. Science. I
Wow.
think
I
science
like it.
makes me feel most alive. Can read the literature of science or study the people or psychology. I just think like the human body's amazing, and just every day learning more and more just about the human body system and our living organism is amazing. So,
That's awesome.
love it.
That's great. Let's jump in and give away a prize already.
Yeah.
Why don't we keep this
Yeah.
going? So
All right.
here's our Impact Theory shirt. I'm wearing it too, but we have a ton of shirts at our store. That's at shop.impacttheory.com. We have the TTFUBC shirt and tank for the ladies. We have the Do shirt, amongst others. You can go get one of these, one of your choosing, if you can answer the following question right. All right, so we're gonna ask the question, and we're going to pick one winner from whoever gets the correct response. So the question is, to date, how many episodes of Impact Theory, our main show, have we released? How many episodes?
Drop it into the comments fast.
Drop it into the comments, and we will come back
We'll choose
around
our
and choose a
winner.
winner. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
All right.
All right, let's go to another question from Tom and Lisa.
What's the one skill set you've developed since being here at Impact Theory that you've put to use?
Skill set. Anyone want to take this one?
I'll start off.
All right.
I'd say one skill set I've learned since working here in production is always thinking outside the box when problems show up, because sometimes you may have things come up, whether it's something's not recording right or camera's out of focus or just getting things out on time. And so I'm always looking at better ways to facilitate that. But ultimately, it was one thing that Tom said a while back where he talks about it's better to be first than to be right. And that was something I took away and I use in my own role, where I'm not focused on always just making sure everything is perfect, but just getting it to the point where we're just doing it and getting it out there and learning as you go, pivoting and improving as you go.
Nice. That's good. I like that.
I go next?
Other ones?
Yeah.
Amanda?
Do only what moves you towards your goals. I think that's a big one that I've learned in thinking about anything. Like, is this going to take me to my goal or away from my goal? If it's going to take me away, then don't do it. Or, yeah, that's something I live by now strongly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sims?
Skill sets would be pretty much all of the marketing we do from the beginning of everything. Just because when I started over at Quest, it was like early days of marketing for me. So kind of building all the different tools, language, the skills around it, marketing a podcast, that was something that I had never done, thought about. I had never even listened to a podcast before starting. So kind of diving into that world and figuring out like what the differences in the audiences are for YouTube versus podcast versus Facebook versus Instagram versus Twitter versus like Snapchat, Tumblr, all of it. So I think those have been some of the most valuable skill sets that I've kind of acquired. And then all of the kind of entrepreneurial things along the way with launching and starting a company and all the little details that go into that.
Nice. I'm going to have to say, on the more concrete side, influencer marketing. So I came from, before going to Quest and Impact Theory, the B2B side of marketing. And although influencer marketing was important, there were thought leaders in our space, it's not at all at the level that it is on the consumer side.
Right.
And so I had no background in that, but I was able to learn based on watching people at Quest and with all of Tom's knowledge and experience, and then just kind of set out on my own and research and try things out. And really have learned a lot about that and been able to apply it. So that's been super interesting for me.
Yeah. It's fun. People
Cool.
management.
All right. We don't have any questions from the audience yet. Do we have a winner for our shirt? I'm looking at LC. What's her name?
Terica.
Terica Wright.
Terica Wright.
Now she won a shirt to match her mug.
She got a mug the other night at
All right,
Impact
Terica.
Hour in Culver
It's her
City.
lucky
There you go.
And
Congrats.
Terica, you get a shirt. It doesn't have to be this one. It could be one of your choosing from the store.
Yeah, it could
We'll
be
sync
that.
up with you. We'll figure out your
Okay.
size and your address, and we'll get it over to you. It could be the
Yeah.
tank. It could be anything. But go check out the store, shop.impacttheory.com. Got a lot of new designs up there and more to come very soon. So
And you might
keep an eye
recognize
out.
some of the models.
You
That was
might recognize some of the
fun
models.
shoot to put together.
That was cool.
It
Yeah.
That was a lot of
fun. I
fun.
can't wait to do the men's shoot. So.
Yeah, we got to get the guys up there. But all the ladies from the team have been modeling the shirts. So go check out
Yeah.
the team members up on our store.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go over to a question that we had left over from last time we did this, because we had a lot of people asking questions. So give me 1 second here. Here's an interesting one. Curious how working with impact theory has affected your individual goals. Did you always know what you were trying to do with your life, or do you know now? Ooh, getting deep.
That's a
Getting
good
deep.
one.
That's a good one, right?
So I would say that working with impact theory has definitely like fleshed out certain things for me. So before coming, I kind of had like this vague sense of what I wanted to do, and things start to get more concrete as you are in action doing things that excite you. And then finding something that kind of intersected a lot of my passions. So passions for creating, mixed media, the ability to just be creative and innovative and like scrappy, working with people, getting to know people, interviewing them, finding out everything there is to know about them, and then learning and reading and all of those things has been really great for me in figuring out kind of more concrete ways to kind of execute on that. So, yeah.
Nice.
All right.
That's great.
I'll
What do you guys
say, agreeing with Cindy, a lot of the things that you come in, or I came in here with, I always knew that I wanted to improve my own life, grow as an individual, and ultimately my main mission is to end poverty worldwide. And so it aligned with what Tom was doing with this company, and focusing on the mindset, how I love psychology. So it kind of allowed me to go more in depth on how to execute on different ideas, seeing the actual the ways to go about thinking about it, and seeing other people also on the show and how they thought about coming up with solutions to different problems. So definitely I've grown in that aspect, but my main mission is still to ultimately, because I grew up in poverty and seeing its effects, to end poverty worldwide, and through narrative as well as mindset overall.
Nice. For me, so I've always had a passion and dream to be a nurse. I'm actually almost 3/4 of the way done with the nursing program, but on
Nice.
hold right now. And so being here now at Impact Theory has kind of made me think deeply, like to try to tap into like what is it about nursing that I've loved, and is it something I really want to do? And what I'm learning here more and more is I love the aspect of people and caring for people, but really being there, like the psychology wise and emotionally and mentally. And so now it's kind of making me realize, like, being here, I love what we're doing, and I love this aspect. I mean, I love the physical care of people, but being able to help people emotionally and mentally, and everything we're doing here with mindset, I'm realizing that this is like my passion, more of the psychology route. So that's what I'm learning while being here.
Nice. I'd say for me, I don't think it's changed my goals, but I think it's helped me focus more, because I think being in this environment and dealing with the ideas that we talk about each day, it's really about understanding what's most important to you and what doesn't matter, and so kind of like filtering out the things in your life that aren't meaningful. Right. So I think it's helped me focus. I think it's helped me understand what matters to me, what's important to me, what I do need to care about and what I don't need to care about. So that's just kind of, I think, moved me down my path toward my goals.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's definitely caused me to focus a lot more, or just figure out more clearly what it is that I want to do in the grand scheme.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have a perfect label for it yet.
Yeah.
It's just, what is that
Nice.
thing?
Nice.
Yeah. And you get to see a lot of different people's perspectives on it with the guests, and I think that's helped me a lot as well, just seeing how other people attack a certain problem.
Nice. All right, here's a question from Madeline Milagros. She says, do you have any, you know Madeline?
Yeah, she's in the Impact Theory League.
Oh, what's up, Madeline?
Hey. Hey, girl.
Do you have any bright lines like Tom?
Bright lines?
Yeah. So maybe we should try to explain the concept of bright lines first for people who don't know. Bright lines are just really, my understanding, hard and fast rules of things you do and do not do.
Yeah.
Like your worldview, where you draw a line. Like, this is just something I don't do. This is something I do. Bright lines, and one of them is nutrition for Tom in terms of what he eats and when. It's just, it's very, very rigid, a very binary vision of that particular thing, and that's what helps him kind of stay focused and stay disciplined. Bright lines.
I guess I could start with that one.
Yeah, what do you think, Ibrahim?
All right. Well, if it's considered a bright line, my morning ritual, where I actually got a lot of it from Tom and Tony Robbins, but just making sure that every morning I'm doing something that's physical, whether it's working out or exercising, doing something for my mind, mostly meditating. I'll just go out in nature, or being out here in LA, there's so much you can really just see and the beauty of it. So that, and then also just honestly making sure that I have a list of my goals written down somewhere, or priorities that I need to tackle. So I'm not just working hard, but I'm actually being productive and going in the direction of my goals. But
Nice.
Outside of that, I also say getting toxic people out of my life, because I feel like and maybe it's a hard subject to talk about, but I feel like in the past, you become very similar to people you surround yourself with, or you heard the saying, you become like the 5 people you surround yourself with. And sometimes people were not on the same path as me. Not that they weren't on a path of their own, but I just have to go my own way.
What was the question?
It's bright lines.
Oh, bright lines.
Do you have one?
So I'm trying to like rack my brain to figure out what my bright lines are, and I don't know if I have bright lines.
That's fair.
Maybe yet could be. I don't know.
Or
like,
maybe
I don't
you don't.
eat ice cream.
Oh, okay.
That could be a bright line. I
Yeah.
just don't eat ice cream. It makes me ill, so I don't eat it. But I don't consider it a bright line. It's just like a personal choice that you know. Oh, and I don't drink milk. That's a bright line for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dairy.
So, yeah. But like I'll like do like yogurts and stuff, and like I've figured out. But I don't drink milk. Period.
That's great.
I'm like,
That's a good start. That's a good start.
It's
Maybe
like
you don't
one.
need a bunch of bright lines.
I know.
I don't know.
I might not.
It may
I
not
don't
work
know.
for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it does.
Do you have an alternative to milk?
Oh, I like drink like coconut milk, almond milk,
Yeah.
like rice milk, and
Okay.
all the other milks.
Yeah.
I also don't.
What
drink
other
lactate.
milks are out there? What kind of milks do we not know about? That we
Right.
should know about.
Oh, cashew milk. Is
Oh,
another
cashew
one.
milk.
Yeah, there are so many different kinds of milk that aren't milk, but also.
How do you milk a cashew?
I don't know, man. I don't know how they make most of this stuff.
Oh, there.
I'm just like, I just want the calcium.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't drink lactate milk because I actually don't like the taste of milk. So
Nice. I do have one bright line within my wife and I do, and that is we spend money on health and self-care. So I think when
a
you're
really good one.
when you're in your early 20s and stuff, and you're relatively healthy, and you probably aren't making a lot of money, and you don't want to spend money on things that are exactly. It's easy to kind of slide into that, like, oh, I don't need to go to the doctor, or, oh, this will just pass, or I'll figure it out, or I'll take care of it later. But a few years ago, we just decided that health is the most important thing, because if you don't have health, you can't really enjoy life or experience anything. And so now anything that comes up, big or small, we don't hesitate, whatever the cost, spend money on health. It's a bright line.
That's a really good bright line. Maybe I should adopt that bright line soon.
Yeah.
Soon. Yeah.
I think a lot of guys don't do that. They're like you, when you look at your health and you're like, well, I don't need to
Right. I don't
go
need
to
to
the
do
hospital.
that. Yeah, I'll be
I'm
fine.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you.
Over the long term, I think it's important to start taking care of yourself in that way.
Absolutely.
Amanda, any bright lines
I
for
don't know.
you?
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know if I actually have like strict bright lines either.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if this is considered a bright line, but like every day I wake up, I feel like I have to be productive today and have a purpose. Like, so I'm on a mission to like tackle everything, like something, for my mind, something for fitness, something towards a goal. Like I have to, that's just kind of like, I guess, everyday life, like pushing forward every day. But it's like when I wake up, it's like, even if you're tired and you just kind of want to be lazy, even if it's the weekend, I'm like, nope, I got to get up and like tackle these things. And then I can go to bed, peacefully.
I'm so not surprised by that, because can we just agree that Amanda tackles everything?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
full on every day, just gets after it,
Well,
just
going.
doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, your list must just be so long, your to-do list.
Right.
We just had like a impact party, and she planned the whole
Like, I
thing by
think about
herself.
to-do lists and I'm sometimes tired. Like I'm like, I
Just
don't know how I would
thinking
even like write that down, and then halfway through I'd be like, I can't. This is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
All right. Let's give something away.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. I want to make sure that we get through all of our prizes, because we have a lot of them today.
That is true.
Thanks for joining us on
Funny.
Facebook Live. Just as a reminder, Tom and Lisa are away, and so we are taking over the page.
So the might as well play.
That's right. We're doing a little Facebook Live takeover.
Ooh.
Ask your questions for the Impact Theory team. You might know this gentleman right here on this book.
Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk. He was a guest on Impact Theory not too long ago. Great episode if you haven't seen it. We have his book, Ask Gary V, the latest, and let me just say, it is signed
It is
by
signed
Gary
by
himself.
One and only
Wow.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
And you can win it if you know the answers to this question. According to the episode, what is Gary's superpower? According to the Impact Theory episode,
Drop it
what
in the comments.
is Gary's superpower? Drop it in the comments, and you have a chance to win a signed Ask Gary V book.
Nice.
Okay. We'll give you time, and we will go to another question from Tom and Lisa.
What is your favorite book?
I feel like this question was designed for me.
I think it was designed for you, so you kick it off.
I'll kick it off. All right, favorite. I'm not a kind of person who has
I'm not good at
favorite books.
favorites.
Yeah.
I have a lot of books that I think are really meaningful to me, but I think a book that sort of changed my life in the sense of how I thought about literature and why I became passionate about it was Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf.
I read that. It's really
Yeah,
good.
so I read it in high school. I've read it several times throughout my life. First time I read it was in high school, and it just changed everything because she was so experimental in that book with how she was writing a novel and the themes she was talking about. It's a very deeply layered book, and you can read it in many different ways. And I just got really into it. And since then, it was that book and then a couple of other things that I read in high school that really started my path down being passionate about literature and studying it in college and then going on to study it in grad school. So, Mrs. Dalloway.
Nice. He has a nice, succinct answer. I do not. Because I feel like it's hard for me to pick a favorite book because some of them have different significances and meanings for me. So, like, I would say, like, the Harry Potter series is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Just because I can't pick one. It just, like, captures reading as a child and, like, the voracious reader that I was and everything about that energy, and it's great, and I love it. But then I have The God of Small Things, which is a book that even right now, it's really hard for me to explain the plot to people, but the feeling has like lingered with me. And I read that probably in 11th grade.
Who wrote that again?
Arundhati
Roy,
Good,
yeah.
Yeah. And she just came out with another book after like a 20-year hiatus, which I purchased in hardcover. It's on my shelf now, waiting to be read.
Nice.
So it just left this like really deep and lasting feeling for me, but I couldn't tell you what that book was about fully. Like, I can't explain the full plot.
Yeah.
I just love the way it was written, the themes, everything, the characters. Great Expectations is another one of my favorites. Yeah, so I can't pick, and so I haven't helped you guys at all. So
Well, that was good, though. Give us a little glimpse into the mind of Cindy. Ibrahim?
All
favorite
right.
book?
I have to say I'm like Cindy. It's hard to choose a favorite, but I would say one book that has had the most impact or influence on my life, starting out very young, was The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, and also How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne. Both of those books, I think every man should read, and also women, just to understand men, but it goes into detail how to be on your mission, almost the same sense of the hero's journey for a man, and also talks about women and dealing with relationships, dating, and ultimately answered a lot of problems that and challenges I would say I was facing when I was younger. And even to this day, I always go back to it and use it as a fundamentals book just to make sure that I'm grounded and centered and staying on my path and my mission.
Nice. Amanda?
I don't know that I have a favorite or significant book either. I will say I never was really a big reader growing up. I mean,
Okay.
other than like
That's
school
fair.
and stuff like that, but never really into reading. And probably when I started at Quest is when, like Tom talked about mindset and read that. And so after that, over this last like 5 or 6 years, I've read more, but I'm like on a mission to become a reader.
Nice.
But you know,
Okay.
mindset, I know that's like Tom's favorite book, but I will say that like made an impact, not only because it, you know, just actually really reading like a book from beginning to end, but like the whole fix to growth mindset really like made an impact with me and where I was at in my life. And then on more of a funner side, from being a kid, Peter Pan has always been like my favorite like book and story, and it's kind of a special thing between me and my brother, and so it's like our little inside like story. And so I actually keep the Peter Pan book, which that he gave as like a gift from at his wedding, like to me, like a really nice copy, like next to my bed, and it's just something. I even have like the little shoe from Tinkerbell. That just whenever I think about life and stuff, like I go back to Peter Pan. I don't know, just something about
very cool.
Fantasyland and just being able to.
I love it.
Yeah, do anything you want to do and just like live, I don't know, as like a little kid again, but like as a big kid, I don't know.
That's how I felt all of D23, to be honest. Like,
Tell us about D23.
So D23 is the Disney Expo. It's like a Disney fan club expo, and they do it every other year since like 2009, I think. And it literally is a whole bunch of adults, and there are some kids there who come with their parents, reliving and capturing the magic of childhood, like all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And like you get to see some previews for things that are coming out, like they tell you kind of what's coming out in the next couple of years and the different animations, live action, all of that. But then they also have things that just like reek of nostalgia, and it's amazing, and you don't realize how powerful it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was on the verge of tears so many times,
Wow.
like so many times, and I was like, what is happening to me? Because like I went into it just like just kind of aloof about it. My sister planned it. It was one of the few times that my sister took initiative to like fully plan something, and it was like her full responsibility from like how we get there, hotel, like all of it, everything. She planned it, and I was really proud of her. It was awesome. And so I was just like, I have no idea what I'm going into. Like I haven't looked at anything. I don't know what panels are happening. And so I just like went on this journey with her, and it was so moving for just the both of us, because some of the songs and things that they were talking about or singing, like I remember we used to sing them together, and then I used to have this like Pocahontas like piano book. We didn't have a piano. I didn't know how to play piano, but it had all the lyrics to the song. And when I got a clarinet, I tried to play the song, but obviously they're in different keys, and like their pianos are different.
Yeah.
I was like, I learned that real quick. And, but it was really cool. It was, And so I feel like that's feeling with like going back to Peter Pan. That's how I feel about like going back to a lot of Disney movies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. I want to see if we have a winner.
Yes. Scott.
Scott
All right,
Seals.
Scott.
You just won
Woo!
a signed copy of Ask Gary Vee. Congratulations. We will get your address and send this out to you. Thanks for participating and for joining us on Facebook Live. Guys, we have other prizes to give away, so don't go away. We have an Audible subscription and a signed poster of your choosing. This is an example of one of our posters from shop.impacttheory.com, but we're going to have Tom sign one, and we'll send it out to you, so don't go away. All right, here's a question from Matt Wireman. He asks, favorite comic? And that is comic book, not stand-up comic. I'll kick this one off because it's easy for me. I don't have one because I don't read comics. So, yeah. I'm into the X-Men. When I was a kid, I was into the X-Men. My brother was kind of into comics, and I'd kind of like look over his shoulder while he was reading them, but I never got into it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I have a very similar answer, except for instead of your brother reading comics, my brother read a lot of manga. And I just never got into it. I don't know, but I love like the universe of like superheroes and like all of those kind of stories and movies and films and all of it. I just never really read comic books.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I would say I didn't have a favorite one, but my mom had a whole box full of comics. I actually don't know where she got it from or if she liked comics personally, but I would go through it, and like Cindy said, I love superhero comics and anything about space, like space and science fiction. That was all me. I wouldn't say that anything kind of made me gravitate towards it, but I just honestly, and back then I was just looking at the pictures, to be honest with you. It was like, oh, look at this. Like, not really reading the words.
Beautiful. Amanda?
With you guys, I didn't really read much comics, but I can
We had
remember
the whole
two.
panel. This whole
Mine
panel doesn't
actually,
even
I
count.
do have one,
What
but
is
I
it?
read it for class, like freshman year of college, and it was called Mouse.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that graphic novel, I was like,
Yeah.
I like this.
Very
I
good.
do. And I ended up reading the second one after the class was over too. So
Nice.
I'll say like I can remember having an older brother and like looking at him while he reads them, or like But I can remember too, like being young and actually looking at comics. Maybe I was more looking at the picture, or if I was reading. But I can remember like loving, like, you know, the imagination of like you're reading it and maybe like go there, but you know, how is he really expressing it, and like looking at the picture drawn. Like I think that's really cool about comics. But I can't like pick one or remember really.
Yeah. I also used to read comic strips out of the newspaper.
Yes, I did do that too.
I do remember.
Calvin and Hobbes.
I did like the Peanuts too, and like what else? The one with the lady, like her name was Patty, I think. Kathy. Anybody? I don't know. Anyone else read it? Like I just, I remember because at the time I lived in Minnesota, so it was like we would get the Star Tribune, and then I would pull out the comic section and just read those. So it's like those aren't comic books, but I did read comics.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, I would wait until like the gas station was getting ready to throw out their Sunday newspaper just to get the Sunday newspaper so I can look at the comics. So if that counts.
That's smart.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like instead, made my parents buy it. I was like, why do we get this paper? Because like I don't remember my parents ever reading it. So I would take the comic section. I think my mom would take like the circulars and the coupons and stuff. And then we would just have this giant newspaper just sitting. We'd use it for crafts. It used to be very crafty. Make pops.
And for bird cages.
Bird cages.
Line the bottom of a bird cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I think we're about at our halfway mark, so I would like to thank Ibrahim and Amanda for joining us today.
Thanks, guys.
And
thank you.
invite our next guest. Oh, you're welcome.
That was a pleasure, guys.
All right.
Have a good day,
So
everyone.
let's have our next panelists
Next
come up.
panelist, come on down.
And please bear with us, Facebook Live audience, as we make this transition. Thanks again for joining us.
Much appreciated.
Oh, hello.
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 All right. Please
Yeah.
introduce yourselves to our Facebook Live audience.
My name is Michelle. I am the newest member of the Impact Theory team, and I'm here doing all things Sheroic.
Yeah.
And you have to tell our Facebook Live audience what Sheroic is in case they don't know.
Okay.
And tell them where to find it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's awesome.
for sure.
Yes.
So if you're not familiar, head to besheroic.com. You can check out everything that we're doing there. But we are a podcast hosted by Lisa Bilyeu, who I'm sure you all are familiar with, and Cassie Ho from Blogilates. So we're talking all things female empowerment, female issues. It's an awesome podcast. And it's not only for females. We've had some reviews from men that say the podcast has given them greater insight into how women think.
Yeah.
So I recommend it for everyone.
There we go. Nice.
So my name is Lisa, but they call me LC because there's already another Lisa. and I'm the marketing intern, one of many. So yeah.
Nice.
Do I also say what I do or?
Yeah, a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. So I moved to LA like 2 months ago. I'm from New York, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice and short. We have a question here that I think this is a great one to kick this new panel off with. And it's from Gabriel. And he asks, I would like to know about the girls' definition of masculinity and the boys' definition of femininity.
Oh, good.
Wow, we're going deep.
Boys here.
So by boys, you mean me. I'll take a stab at this and hopefully not put my foot in my mouth. Honestly, I don't really have a definition. I think that I don't really believe in gender norms. And Brene Brown talks about how, men are always associated with like confidence and aggression, but it's important for them to learn how to be vulnerable. And I think there's another aspect she talks about, but vulnerability is one that's important. And the same thing, it's like men or women are always associated with like vulnerability and being in touch and sensitive, but they don't get associated with confidence and with leadership or whatever. And that's just false. It's just patently false. And it's just, we just have to stop thinking that way.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really believe in gender norms like that.
Yeah. So with that eloquent answer, because I really don't. I feel like I don't really have a good definition of masculinity because I think of everyone as people, and so I almost boil them down to their individuality.
Yeah.
So like you can exist as the person you are with all the different like sensitivities, vulnerability, complexities, all of that, and still be like whatever you choose to express yourself as. So, you know, I'm okay if you're a dude and you cry. And you should also be okay if I might not cry, which is very, that's false. Like, I'm going to cry. But whatever.
You individually
like,
might
me
cry.
individually might cry. But that doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not tough. That doesn't mean that I'm not confident. I'm not able to, you know, make tough decisions just because I think about the ramifications of how that affects another person, and I might actually feel that myself just because I have a lot of empathy. And so I feel like that shouldn't be something that I guess like confines, because I feel like for masculinity there's such a narrow view of it societally that it makes it really difficult, like in my experience, to, you know, have like whole men, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's why I choose not to have a definition of masculinity, because I want to allow the other person or the other man to be able to express every piece of themselves without feeling like they're losing something or weak, because weak apparently is really bad.
It's
for
not
masculine.
okay. Yeah.
It's not okay to be weak.
I don't know that I have a whole lot more to add, because I totally agree that I think it's such an individualized thing that it's like we just can't put people in these buckets. But I recently had the chance to read Lewis Howe's new book. It's not out yet. But when,
when it is,
and when he's on the Shirley podcast,
we'll drop that in the comments.
He talks about all of the different masks of masculinity. That's what the book is called. So it was very interesting. I think he broke it up into 9 different masks. I won't give away too much in the book. But he talks about all of these things that men are expected to be in society. So men are expected to be athletic. They're expected to be tough. They're expected to be the alpha male all the time. And it's just not who they are as people, people are different, and it's not fair for us as females and as other males to expect them to fit into all of these individual roles. So, and I think on the flip side, it's the same with women. Women are put into these different things. We're expected to be, I don't know, I guess probably just the opposite. Yeah, like, we're, look
reserved.
Good. Yeah, like, keep
Bubbly.
happy all the time. And
smile.
Right.
And it's just not how it is.
So my answer is a little different because I think there's 2 sides to that question. There's the cultural side and the more biological side. And the way I took the question, I think he meant it, I'm guessing, in a more scientific way. So I read both The Female Brain, recommended by Bilyeu. She's in the comments. And I also read The Male Brain. And after having read those books, I do understand that there are fundamental differences in the way that we're wired. Now, what society decides to do with that, what traits that they choose to make more prominent in men and females, I think that I agree with both Michelle and Cindy on that point. But I do think women are more geared for connection. And I think it's one of the reasons why we strong such, strong friendships and the way that we love and the way that we nurture. I think that is something that is fundamentally true about the feminine energy. It's wanting everything to cooperate. It's wanting to build connection. It's asking others for advice and being a bit more considerate of everyone's feelings. Whereas the male energy, I know men, they tend to like to master their environment, and that's why you'll see like a 30-year-old boy, he's like touching everything and just running around and being a little crazy. And so I think with that, the male energy is like they get energy from having been aggressive, which I think is different for women. I think when Tom talks about using the darkness, I think the way I think the reason that works for men is because aggression actually gives them energy. And whereas women, we tend to, I think that just makes us a little crazy, so we choose not to deal with it. But I do think society has decided what traits that they want to make more prominent of a male figure, and kind of given us expectations of what we should expect, but not necessarily based on actual scientific data. Yeah.
Nice. You've inspired me to read those books now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
I should
It's
do that.
like there's a study where they have a group of little young girls and a group of little boys, and they put like a little toy, and they say, okay, don't touch this to both groups. The little girls check back with their mothers for confirmation on what to do like 20 times. The little boys, not a single time. They just ran for it. And it's because like they have such a need to master their environment that you have to pull them and be a little bit more rough with them, because they don't understand nuances and emotions they tend to understand at a much older age than young girls, whereas when you take like a little girl to a restaurant, the reason why she would behave better than the little boy is because she understands those cues already. Her brain has developed so quickly that she can pick up on the little nuances, whereas little boys, it's like, they're just a little lower on the IQ level.
Slower to
when you're
develop.
young, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
really cool
nice.
study.
Let's go to a question from Tom and Lisa.
Next one. What is your favorite movie?
Again,
Feels like team lunch.
Cindy hates this question.
I hate this question.
She doesn't watch movies.
Because I do.
You don't
I
watch
watch movies.
movies.
I watch movies. I watch plenty of movies. I just can't pick a favorite. And sometimes I don't remember them.
Yeah. I can't pick a favorite either, but I will say one of the best movies that I've ever seen is The Shining. And everyone always is like, what? That's a horror movie. Yes, it's a horror movie. But if you strip away the horror and you just set that aside for a second, as a film, it is incredible. Everything from top to bottom, the cinematography, the writing, the set, the soundtrack is absolutely perfect if you look at it from a film perspective. So watch The Shining again from a new angle.
New perspective. Yeah, I don't. I really don't have an answer. I have such a hard time, and I feel like if I were to just pick a movie, it would all be a lie.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to say something's my favorite. Like, I've seen Love and Basketball a lot. Does that count as a favorite movie? Like,
We'll put it in the
right,
category of
maybe.
favorites, Cindy's
Like,
favorites.
Big Fish, I thought was like life changing for me when I first saw it. Like,
It's a good
awesome,
movie.
really
Yeah.
great movie. But I'm like, is it my favorite? I've probably only seen it like twice, and I probably couldn't tell you exactly what happened. Like, so sorry.
All right. Any others? Favorite movies over here?
For me, it's so hard to pick a favorite. We were having this conversation last week.
Oh, yeah.
The one, I don't know that I would say it's my favorite, but it's consistently in my top 10, is Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes.
It's a
I
great
just
movie.
love that movie. Yeah.
I'll pull a Tom and not answer the question directly. So instead, I'll say one of my most inspirational movies that has, I guess, helped transform my mindset. For me, it's Sing. The most recent movie that I've watched.
Oh, yeah. You were telling me
that's
about that.
had an amazing impact on me. So at the time, Tom had released the Impact Books video for Disney, and he was talking about the enthusiasm that you need as an entrepreneur to keep going, fail after fail after fail. And that movie, even though it's animated and it's geared toward children, it's so true to that concept. I don't remember the name of the main character, but I think he's a koala. I think. And I swear, guys, this movie is phenomenal. And just the story in the movie, so he had this theater that he wanted to build, and he kept getting across all these obstacles to keep him from his dream, but he just kept going, and he was so enthusiastic with every single thing that he did that it was just I cried. I cried
Wow.
watching that movie. It was phenomenal.
Gotta see that one.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Also see Moana. That's
Yes.
like
Moana's good
yeah.
too.
Moana is phenomenal.
Wow. All right.
Phenomenal.
Add them to the list. Somebody's trying to sing in the background.
Yeah.
The one
Wookiee.
Wookiee monster.
He's like, I want to give my opinion.
Yeah. Let's do another giveaway. So we have posters on the store, shop.impacttheory.com. This is one of them. They come in 2 different sizes. And we are going to get one, have Tom sign it, and send it to you, lucky audience member, if you can answer the following question. Question is, who said this quote? The only thing that's constant in this ever-changing world is who I am. It's from an Impact Theory episode. It's from one of our guests. I'll repeat it. The only thing that's constant in this ever-changing world is who I am. Tell us who said that quote, and we will, you can choose a poster. We'll have Tom sign it, and we'll ship it out to you. Put it in the comments now. Let's go to another question.
Another question?
Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur, a linchpin, or a continuity player? No right answer, and I'll define them. So an entrepreneur is somebody who really at the end of the day is trying to build their own thing. If they're being an intrapreneur, meaning they want to use entrepreneurial tendencies inside of a larger company, they're thinking outside the box, constantly pushing their skill set forward. They're looking at the problems that we need to solve as a business, and they're doing it totally irrespective of what their job description is. A linchpin is somebody who is absolutely best in class at their role. They understand the problems that their role is facing and how they can help the company, and they're going hard to become the best in the world at that. And then a continuity player is somebody who more or less they're rock solid, they show up every day, they're putting in the work, but promotion and advancement isn't their game. They want a stress-free life. So which of the 3?
We get all the tough questions.
This is a good one. I like this.
Yeah, good one.
Good question.
I'll kick it off.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, as I usually answer questions, not with simple answers, it evolves. And it's evolved for me in my life and my career. I think when I started out in my early 20s, I wanted to be a continuity player. My first couple of jobs, I just wanted to go in, do my work, get off work, get a paycheck, and focus on the things outside of my work that were important to me, like art or social activities or family or friends or whatever it was. And that was what I was prioritizing in my life. Around my mid to late 20s, I started to become a linchpin, or wanted to be a linchpin, and I think that was because things were changing in my life. My priorities changed. I got married, and so it was all about like, how can I go into this company and just be the absolute best in this role and on my team? How can I just go in and dominate? And that's what I did. And I think now I'm at a place where I would say I'm kind of shifting from linchpin more into entrepreneur is how I'm seeing myself. The reason I even came over to Impact Theory was because it was an opportunity to be part of a founding team that's going to actually shape the business going forward, and not just be kind of executing on the vision that's set forth, but actually helping to shape it. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, it's evolved.
Cool. I don't want to go next.
Okay. Michelle?
Okay, yeah. So I think kind of similar to you, Jared, I definitely, in the past, didn't have any sort of entrepreneurial mindset. I was just kind of working to work and wanted to have fun. But more recently, in my role at Quest, I took on more of an entrepreneurial mindset. I went into Quest, and I don't even remember like what my initial job description was.
Girl.
Yeah, I was
Girl.
I was essentially just posting the videos, like doing the annotations, doing like the back end of YouTube, and that was pretty much all I was doing at that time. And then, I transformed that role into what I wanted it to be, which was producing content. That's always been a passion of mine. And I definitely took the opportunity at Quest to really build that and do what I wanted to do. So I had the opportunity to produce some really awesome content, like produced a show called Transformation, if you've seen it.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And then even just we produced like a Facebook Live show, like just taking the opportunity that wasn't necessarily given to me and just kind of creating the opportunity myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, I never really wanted to be I don't think I've ever been or interested in being a continuity player. I watched a video that actually said stress isn't bad for you. It's only when you believe that stress is bad for you that is bad for you. And and I never really wanted a stress-free life or anything like that. I've always sought challenges in my life. And so for me, I'm always at my best when I feel challenged. When I don't, it frustrates me a lot. So for me, so I would say I do have entrepreneurial tendencies in that I don't necessarily stick to a specific role, but I do believe in the art of mastery. And that's focusing on one thing that you want to do and practicing that over and over again so you could build like little nuances that you probably couldn't even explain to anyone else because it's become such a part of your identity.
Yeah.
And for me, what I'm trying to do that with, what I'm trying to do here with that is social media. And so I told myself if I can, so now, oh, by the way, guys, I'm the one who tweets you back on Twitter. And we'll hit you up on Instagram. So hi.
On the Impact Theory Twitter handle, just to clarify.
Now.
For Impact
For
Theory.
Impact Theory. And so now that I handle all those channels, it's like, okay, what can I do with this? What can I learn? How can I improve? What can I test? How do I test my intuition? Which I think is one of the reasons why I came here. I have really strong intuitions about things, but I needed a place to, like a mirror to hold back and say, okay, this is where it needs to improve, this is where this needs to get better. So essentially, I do believe in focusing on one thing and getting really, really good at that. But I do also have entrepreneurial tendencies, so maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be hybrid. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm a hybrid.
Yeah, there you go.
I would also
Hybrid.
probably think of myself more hybrid, probably more so on the entrepreneurial side, because I really do like going after challenges and solving them and figuring them out, and I like the ability to kind of dabble in a lot of different things at the same time. I feel like I've always been from a kid like a jack of all trades, and that's why, like, ironically, Elsie was telling me that I would be really great on Jeopardy, and it's because I just know random stuff about like
Jeopardy. I said any show. She's amazing.
no, but like just because it's fun facts and just other random tidbits of information that just like stick in my brain and I just remember them, and I end up using them later or pulling them out just randomly. So I feel like, one of the things I want to do is get better at focusing my attention, which I feel like Impact Theory helps me do, and especially you help me kind of like focus on the one task, because I love to do all the things.
Yeah.
All the things, dabble into all the little things and like do them all. And then I just feel like then you end up needing someone behind you to like fix it all. So trying to get better at that. So I definitely feel like I'd consider myself more entrepreneurial too, because I would be like a slightly bossy older sister. Like I like to coordinate, and if you were to think about it, they were my first like executive team.
Nice.
And so that's kind of how I feel about that.
Nice. All right. Great answers, everyone. We have a winner for the poster. It is Gabriel Delabarali. Hope I said that right. Congratulations, Gabriel. You won a poster.
Congrats.
We will sync up with you and figure out which poster you want. We'll get Tom to sign it and we'll ship it out to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Much appreciated.
We're running out of time, but we still have one more giveaway. So let's just do it right now. This is the big one. It's a 3-month Audible subscription. Okay. Yeah. 3-month Audible subscription. And the question is this: what book got Tom reading when he was younger? There was one book in particular that kicked off his interest in reading. What was it? Drop it in the comments now, and we will come back to you and choose a winner. And the author. You have to have the book and the author
Yeah.
for this one.
Should we also all answer that question? I feel like that's interesting. Or maybe not.
We can answer, yeah, in a few minutes. Let's give people a chance to put it in the comments.
Are you saying for ourselves?
For ourselves,
for
yeah.
ourselves.
Okay,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
ours. Well, I already sort of answered it for me, back with the favorite book
Oh,
question.
right.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I read Goosebumps and stuff.
I was like,
I've always been interested in reading.
Yeah.
So I've always read my whole life, but when I really got serious about literature being a passion of mine and something I wanted to study, it was with Mrs. Dalloway. So,
okay.
what do you think?
I know I turned this on everyone, but I don't have an answer because, because now that I'm thinking about it, it's like I always read, like I started reading early actually, because I think, and this is just true of me as like a kid, is I was frustrated with having to wait for other people to read to me, so I just learned how to read.
That's so Cindy.
So
That
I was like,
Yeah.
it's the same way. It's like that's the way I learned to tie my shoes. Like I was just notoriously independent. So it was really interesting when Elsie was talking about how like you would put a little kid in the middle of the room and they would like go off and like a little boy in the middle of the room and they'd go off and
master their
explore and like
environment,
whatever.
yeah.
I was that child, and my brother was the person who sat in the middle of the room because it was like, hey, sit here. And so he's like, all right, I was told that I need to sit here. And I would be the person climbing up onto like the cupboards to get things. So keeping things high was, I was the Rugrats baby. So, so I started reading probably like, I want to say like 3.5, 4 maybe. Maybe it's 4. And so after that, it was just like books all the time. And
Nice.
yeah, brief hiatus probably in like my collegiate days and law school when I was like, I'm
Reading
burnt out.
textbooks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have time to read for fun, and
Yeah.
now reading isn't fun.
Yeah.
And so then I quit reading.
For me, I did not grow up I didn't love to read growing up. So I'm trying to think back to when I really started, because now I read all the time. Like I can't go a day without reading at least part of a book or something. I just love it. But I don't know if there's one specific book that made me that way. I've, in the past, I don't know, like year or so, gotten super, super interested in nutrition. So I read tons and tons of books about nutrition. So I think for me, just finding a topic that kind of lit a fire in me made me want to read other things as well. And individual books would touch on a subject, and I would want it to go deeper into that subject. And when it didn't, I would seek out other books that were in that field, but in a different area, if that makes any sense at all. But when I was younger, the books that I read were about murder a lot. Like, is that weird? Like, I don't know.
That's not weird.
I love that, though.
I like
Like
I love
Agatha
suspense.
Christie?
Yeah, I mean, not really,
Like what
but
kind?
like true
Mysteries.
crime.
Oh, true crime.
Yeah,
okay.
like this actually
Like
happened.
this serial killer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I loved all of that. When
Interesting.
I was in the 6th grade, one of my favorite shows was Murder, She Wrote.
I loved Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She
That was
Wrote.
like,
Yeah. Like, I
great
was
show.
all into murder everything from a young age.
All right.
And I probably just lost it.
If we took a clip bite of just like I was just
all
into
murder,
everything.
all
That's good.
day.
Oh, Murder Michelle. We have a new nickname.
That's your new nickname.
Yeah.
She's like, this didn't happen.
Yeah, can we, like, rewind and not play that? Oh, wait, it's live.
We can't edit that out, unfortunately.
This is
Elsie?
the beauty of live TV, everyone.
So, I don't remember my early reading experiences, but I wouldn't say I wasn't really a book nerd, but I know I did enjoy reading textbooks, which is weird. But a book, when I moved to New York, so I was born and raised in Haiti, and so I learned English through books and kids television. And so when I moved, I was reading a lot of the Babysitter's Club.
I loved the Babysitter's
Classic.
Club. I used to get
That
those box sets
series?
Yeah.
to my
Oh
house.
God, that series, I didn't yet understand American culture in the way that young women hear from friendships and etc. I was 11, and so I guess I got a little bit of taste of that from reading those books and understanding the different levels of how American young women connect to each other and the things that they relate on, which isn't necessarily my world culturally. So yeah, I didn't always love to read. I do listen to a lot of Audible now, and that's my preferred way of reading. But yeah, that's my answer. The Babysitter's Club.
Babysitter's
I
Club.
tried to start a Babysitter's Club.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Did it work?
No. I couldn't get anybody else on board because, like, I don't know. I didn't have enough friends who actually knew how to babysit, and I had no clue how to really start it. I was like, do I put a poster up at the grocery store? Like, because I wanted to do that. Like, I was like, this is.
But I love that you were already community building at a young age. Like destined to end up
it's like
at Impact Theory.
destined to do this.
Yeah.
Because it was, I like the idea of the female friendship and like them meeting every week and like all of them hanging out and like Claudia having a stash of candy. Like,
Right?
I think that's why I still have stashes of candy, not in my house, but I used to at my like desk. So.
It was like the Sex in the
Babysitter's Club.
City
Nice.
of 11-year-olds.
And then also,
That's a
like,
good
stashes.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
Scholastic Book Fair was my
yeah.
jam. And that's the reason I have, like, probably all of the Babysitters Club somewhere at my parents' house.
Yeah.
Because
Nice.
I made them subscribe. That was my way of, like, finagling. Because I was only allowed, like, 3 books per, like, thing. Because otherwise I circle all of them pretty much. And I was like, all right, cool, let's get these. I was like, no. You get 3. And so how I worked the system was I would purchase at least one of them that was a recurring subscription. So like Babysitter's Club was one of those,
Yeah.
and it would just like happen all the time. And I guess then I would add my other ones along the way. Sorry, Mom, love you.
I don't think she's upset for investing in your reading.
Yeah, no, like they're not, and
Yeah.
that's why I knew I could kind of get away with it. Because what other kid is like, can I buy a
Right.
candy book? So.
Cool. Well, I think we can wrap it up there. We're at the end of our hour here. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us on Facebook Live today and letting us do this. I hope you got to see a little bit about what we do behind the scenes here and learn a little bit about each of us. You can always send us questions and we'll try to answer. We'll be on social or we'll be doing the work behind the scenes as we usually are. But thanks for joining us, and it's a weekly show, so please subscribe. And also, check out our newsletter, which is up and running, going steady these days, and we're adding new things to it and trying to do some exciting stuff there. So come join the newsletter. It's going to be a different experience than what you get elsewhere. You can do that at info.impacttheory.com/newsletter. And
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 make sure
we'll-
to follow Bilyeu.
be sure while we're doing shout outs. Yeah.
Yes, and then we'll also have our regular Q&A with Tom next week,
Yep.
Thursday, 9 a.m.
He'll be back.
Yes.
So get your questions ready.
So be prepared.
And until next time,
Be
be
like
legendary.
legendary.